live in Silico. We are entering week number 3 of this term 2B. We're moving along nicely throughout this course. We're about halfway through history or so. So we're almost there in terms of the first half of this course. But again, continue to work on your assignments. Like always, you can listen and participate live in class by simply calling in the Wasser Studio. You can do so at your learning center or at home, and we can put you on air. That way you can listen, participate, ask questions live in class right now. Again, if you have any questions in regards to your assignments or the coursework, again, just let me know. You can simply get in touch with me by giving me a call during my office hours. Again, extension 2221, or just ask for Jonathan, the PLAR History Geography teacher. Again, my email is on the screen. Again, feel free to send me an email. Again, you can always get in touch with me by social media on Facebook as well under Jeho Wasa. Again, all the contents are up to date in terms of the archive and my YouTube channel. So again, if you missed any content, you can always go back and check it out as well. Okay, so again, continue to work on assignments. Try to get as much as you can done as soon as possible. Again, just a reminder, the due date for submitting any PLAR work is Friday, June the 16th. Again, Friday, June the 16th is the last day to submit any PLAR work. Again, any work that's submitted after this due date will not be marked until after the summer in September. And again, that goes along with your test as well. So again, continue to work on those assignments. Gotta try to get as much as you can get done as soon as possible. Get them to me for marking and assessment. That way you can write your test and then we can be done with this as well. Again, any local students in town, again, feel free to swing by the office. Again, we can find you a quiet spot at the office to do your final test as well. Okay, so again, feel free to call in the Wassel Studio. Make sure you do that right now. Log on to Smart Bridget. That way you can see my screen as well. Are there any questions? All right. So, class, today we are starting a brand new lesson, lesson number 2 in your textbook. Okay? Doesn't really mean much, will just mean that we're just moving on to the next section within this course. Again, lesson 2 starts on page number 12. And again, after today's class, we'll be going over your next assignment as well. Okay, assignment number 4. So just keep that in mind. Again, our class today is called Canada and the Second World War. Again, you want to shift and put your mindset into starting in the late 1930s and early 1940s. Again, last week, we talked about the 20s and the 30s, along with the Great Depression, along with women gaining the right to vote. Again, today we'll just move along to Canada and the Second World War. Okay? So again, that's lesson number 2, page number 12, 1939 to 1945. That's our framework for today. So let's get to our today's class learning goals and our success criteria, and then we'll get to a little fun little hook that I have for today's class. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, we'll figure things out from there. So our learning goals, again, our learning goal is a direction where we're heading for today's class. So for today, we're learning about the causes and the effects of World War II. Okay, similar to World War I, but we're looking at the Second World War. Success criteria, again, something that where you can assess and evaluate yourself is by saying, I know I'm successful when I can describe how anti-Semitism was common in Canada. We'll talk more about that. We'll be able to describe how Hitler came into power. And we can explain the failure of the League of Nations. Again, going back to World War I as well. Okay? So that's our goal for today's class. And again, at the end, we'll go over questions on assignment before, and hopefully we'll have a bit of extra time to work on it together as well. Again, please call in the Wasser Studio, and please log on to Smart Bridget as well. So for today's class, I got a little video. Hopefully it works. I'm gonna play it regardless whether or not it works or not. It's only a 2 short minute video. Again, it relates back to World War One, where it talks about Francis Fragmagabel, Ojibwe First Nation soldier, sniperist, whatever you want to call him. It talks a little bit about his achievement during World War One. Again, I wish I had found this video back when we did World War One, but again, it's never too late to still apply in terms of adding some indigenous content within our lesson as well. So again, very short 2 minute video. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, you can just copy at the top, find it, or I can just post it on my YouTube channel afterwards, and you can just watch it as well.
Among those braving the horror.
Oh yeah, by the way, before we watch this video, again, something to think about. Again, as you're watching this short 2 minute video, just think about it, reflect upon it, just think about what you liked about it, what you disliked about it, how does it apply to what we have already covered. Again, share some thoughts, opinion, hopefully we can discuss it as well. And look at that, we have Bridget Adams on with us. Hi Bridget, hopefully you can hear us today in class. Before we get to our video, I just want to check on your status and your progress in terms of assignments. Where are you at the moment in terms of completing your assignments, Bridget? Have you completed assignment number 3? Are you still working on assignment number 3? Or is that all completed at the moment? Awesome. So, okay, so Bridget is still working on it. Awesome. Again, any questions, comments, concerns about your assignments, Bridget, before we continue with today's class? Again, this goes for anyone else as well. Again, this is a great opportunity to ask questions, gain some clarity. If you need help or you don't understand the questions or can't find the answer, this is the perfect chance to ask it before we move along. Again, today class, if Bridget hasn't already heard about it, we're starting lesson number 2 today. At the end, we'll be looking at assignment number 4, sorry, and then we'll just continue moving along, okay? So again, to begin today's class, I got this little short video. Again, hopefully it works. Hopefully you can hear it. If you can't, I apologize. Again, technology and distance education. So again, as you watch this short 2 minute video, again, just reflect on it, what you like, what you don't like about it, how does it apply to our class, how does it relate to, again, our learning goals from the past, etc. Okay, so again, sit back, relax, enjoy it, and hopefully we'll get some little discussion going on afterwards.
Is Francis Pegamagabo, a 25-year-old Anishinaabe from Wasauksing Nation on Georgian Bay, Ontario. Pegamagabo volunteers just days after war is declared. He carries a medicine bag meant to protect him, a gift from an elder. Pegamagabo is an uncommonly good shot, sniper material. He dashes through no man's land, eluding enemy gunners. Patient. Focused. Motionless. He waits for just the right shot.
You have to have a completely different psyche to be a sniper. They will go to extreme lengths, climbing inside the carcass of a dead horse and waiting for 2 days to make that one kill. Not every soldier wants to do that. Not every soldier can do that. I think that's what sets them apart.
Pegamagabo establishes his reputation as a formidable warrior. In the next 4 years, he racks up 378 sniper kills, more than any other Allied or German soldier.
The average lifespan of a sniper in World War I was about 6 weeks if you were lucky. Francis survived the whole, not just survived the whole war, but became the deadliest sniper of that war.
His courage at Ypres earns him the Military Medal, an honor he's awarded twice more during the war, making him the most decorated Indigenous soldier in Canadian military history.
All right.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Let's close that up. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that short little video. Again, even though it took place back in World War One, it still relates to what we're talking about in terms of looking at military history, Second World War, and some Indigenous content. So class, any thoughts, comments you want to share about that video in terms of how it relates to what we have covered so far? Do you have any questions about the video? Do you see any connection within your community or whatnot? This is your chance to share and reflect as well. Again, whether or not you enjoy watching videos, if you do like videos, let me know. I can always add more videos within our lessons as well, but just want to get some feedback, your thoughts, what you like and what you dislike about that. Maybe another couple more minutes to think about it. Again, you can always come back and share your thoughts afterwards. Again, we can always pause through our lecture and have some discussion afterwards as well. But again, something I just want to share, something I found throughout the week I thought was related, significant in terms of what we're talking about as well. All right, awesome. All right, some more questions to think about. Wasn't World War One the war to end all wars? Wasn't it? And why is Canada entering another war? In other words, why is Canada entering again in the Second World War? Again, thoughts, questions, something to think about. Keep in mind that many in Canada lived through World War One. What reason do you think would motivate someone to enlist in the Second World War? We know that going to war is not fun. We're giving up our lives to fight for gain for freedom, but would you do it a second time? What motivated someone to do this for a second time? Again, thoughts, comments, again, just some guided, open-ended questions to start making you think about. Again, hopefully we can go back and try to answer some of these questions as well. But again, wasn't World War One the war to end all wars? Why is Canada enter war again? And what would make you, for example, what would motivate you to enter the Second World War or fight in the Second World War for a second time? Again, many things to think about as we navigate through these lessons. All right, so going back, let's reflect back to lesson number 1, World War One. Do you remember the League of Nations? Do you remember what the purpose of the League of Nations were? Again, the League of Nations was formed with numerous countries after World War One. Their goal was to have peace and to ensure that a second world war did not break out. However, we know that that didn't work. We know that they failed to accomplish their goal and purpose as World War II took place. So again, remember, founded in 1919, divided victors in World War I. Again, the purpose was to ensure World War I was the war to end all wars, to have world peace. Again, did not happen. Not successful, did not have any real power. Again, even though many countries formed this group organization, no one really had any true powers or guidance to make that happen. Again, countries such as the United States refused to join. France and Britain also refused to provide support. Therefore, in the end, it was just a big disaster. It was doomed, and it just failed, and leads us to the Second World War. So what led to the Second World War? Again, similar but not always the same factors that led to World War One. Again, going back to what we talked about last class about 1920s and 30s and the Great Depression, that played a huge factor. Again, if you don't remember what the Great Depression was all about, again, go back, review it, check it out. Again, that was a huge factor in terms of what happened or led to the Second World War. Desperate times call for a desperate measure. The Great Depression left many feeling hopeless, frustrated, and demanding change. Around the world, people wanted to believe that there was a way out of this crisis, if only someone could lead them in the right direction. Desperation led population to follow more radical leaders, proposing big changes and big ideas. Again, going back to what we talked about with the Great Depression, it did not just impact Canada, but it impacted many countries around the world as well in terms of that economic instability, unemployment, dark period, time period. So after World War I, again, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, blaming Germany for all of its hostility. Again, Germany felt the effects of the Great Depression. They had unemployment and even influence from the stock market crash. So again, similar to what's going on here in Canada during that time period. Hitler, Adolf Hitler, capital Hitler. Again, you may have heard of his name before. Controversial historical figure. He was the voice of reason. Again, desperate times in Germany. They wanted hope, they wanted change. To look towards Hitler. Hitler rose, again, became the voice of reason and hope, and that people in Germany thought that they could be big and powerful once again. And that Hitler can restore its glory days as the world power or a giant, powerful empire once again. Hitler and his government, which was this political ideology of fascism. Again, fascism is like this interest of the state, where it's more important than individual rights, characterized by often by one leader, a sense of pride, sense of nationalism, almost like a dictatorship going on as well. It also has maintained a class system in terms of private ownership as well. So under Hitler and his political ideology of fascism and his political party of the Nazi Party, he was eventually voted into power in 1933. With Hitler now in play, he promoted that the Jews cheated the country with false advertisement. Again, this is not true. He believed that Germany, or being German, was the best. Okay, the best ethnicity. Okay, if you are not German, you are seen as not pure, not ideal. Okay, everything had to be under German rule. Again, that just goes back into his political ideology in terms of fascism, a sense of nationalism, a sense of pride within his own ethnicity. So that's Hitler and what was going on in Germany. But what about everyone else? How did it actually started? Well, again, similar factors such as World War I in terms of alliance, imperialism came into play. 1936, Germany and Italy began an alliance again where they had support, had each other's back. So now we have Hitler and Benito Mussolini. Okay, they form an alliance. 2 years later, in 1938, Germany invaded and entered Austria and Czechoslovakia. A year later, in 1939, Italy came into play as well, and they started to take Albania. Again, a lot of invasion going on. Again, we know that this was not supposed to happen. Therefore, the rest of Europe was like, what was going on? Why is this happening? They saw this as a threat because of what's going on with Germany and Italy, and they ordered them to stop or must stop. But nope, it didn't happen. Germany just continued to invade. They went on to invading Poland as well. Therefore, it led to the Second World War, where in 1939, Britain and France they form an alliance and they declare war on Germany. Again, that's how it all started out. Again, these background content of how the Second World War is not necessarily in your textbook. Again, your textbook does start on page 12, but it doesn't necessarily get into the background content as well. It really starts off with how Canada got involved, which we'll talk about next very, very shortly. But again, I hope that little background content helped set the scene in terms of how it all started. Questions so far about the background content? Again, hopefully you can see that sense of similarity and symbolism reflected within World War One and World War II as well. Again, very similar reasons. Canada. Yes, Canada, we went into war again for the second time. Canada declared war on Germany 7 days after Britain did. What's significant about this one is that Canada declared war by themselves. They were not forced to go like World War One. During this time period, Canada again started to gain its own sovereignty, starts to establish its own identity away from the British Empire. Therefore, we were not forced to go, but we decided to go. Okay, big difference, big difference. One major reason why Canadians joined the war efforts again for the second time was because of the Great Depression. Okay, the Great Depression. Again, the Great Depression left many with no jobs, nothing to do. Therefore, why not go to war overseas once again? So again, you can see the effects again starting to unravel and unfold due to the Great Depression. Again, the economy, workforces were not great. Not much was going on. We needed something to do. And that's why many Canadians joined the Second World War efforts once again. So again, ask yourself this question. If a Second World War broke out, would you go? If a war broke out right now, would you go support your country? Okay, not even a first time, but would you go a second time? Again, hard to say because again, you haven't had that experience, but again, just something to think about. Something to think about as well. Alright. Sticking with the theme of Canada, okay, going back into this term called Arsenal of Democracy. Arsenal of Democracy. Very similar to what we already talked about in terms of the home front back in lesson number 1 during World War One. Pretty much the same thing. So if you have an understanding of what the home front was all about, you should know what this fancy term that they like to call themselves as Arsenal of Democracy here in Canada. Again, if you open up your textbook into page 12, it talks about it right here, Arsenal of Democracy. Again, it talks about why Canada joined the Second World War because of the Great Depression as well. Again, it all starts on the opening page of 12 in your textbook on the first paragraph. So again, if you're following at home or at your learning center and you want to make notes, this is where you can find the contents. Okay. Again, any questions, just let me know. Type it out, shout it out, raise your hand, just let me know. Okay. All right, so home front. Again, it all goes back into a collective effort by everyone. Again, all about producing weapons, fuel, household goods, food for troops. Again, that goes back into women in the workforce taking over tasks in the factories, but still carrying out duties such as nurses and being teachers. Children, yes, youth got involved as well. They fundraised, they made care packages, and carried out other duties as well. Again, it was a collective effort, great help within the war efforts by everyone. We know that going to war is not cheap. We need support. So again, everyone stepped up in a big ways. Again, they even sold victory bonds as well. So again, everyone got involved. Women, children, produced weapons, fueled household goods, food, supplies, you name it, we did it all. Again, that all took place back in Canada. Again, because of all this contribution, they just like to call themselves the Arsenal of Democracy. Just a fancy little term, a name that they like to call themselves. All right, let's talk about our government during this time period. Government. Mackenzie King. Mackenzie King. Again, his face is on the Canadian $50 bill. Again, you may recognize that handsome fellow before. So Mackenzie King was Canada's Prime Minister during this time period of the Second World War, and he did a lot in terms of support for Canadian families. In 1940, he created this measure called the Unemployment Insurance Act. Okay, the Unemployment Insurance Act. Basically, if you had worked before and had become unemployed because of the Great Depression or the causes, you can now collect unemployment money or free money for a period of time, proving that you had worked before. Almost like EI today, unemployment insurance, where if you got laid off or lost your jobs, you can now collect money from the government. This notion that we have today came from this, the Unemployment Insurance Act, 1940. Same concept, same idea as being put out here. Mackenzie King also created in 1944 the Family Allowance Act. Again, we still have this today to a certain extent as well. Any family with children, with kids, can now collect something called baby bonus, okay, baby bonus money. The purpose of the baby bonus money is to help pay for food, shelter, and clothing. Again, I still believe that's still in play today. Again, any household, family that has children under the age of 18, I believe, or 16, not entirely sure, they can still collect baby bonus money up until that age. Again, the goal was to help pay for food, clothing, shelter, and other basic necessity for growing up as well. Again, something that Mackenzie King created as well. And he also, again, continued out victory bonds. Again, victory bonds were similar to World War I, helped to raise money for the war efforts. Again, going to war each day cost about over $1 million. Again, people had to borrow money at a low interest rates. Again, because of that, you could purchase victory bonds and then cash it in afterwards for higher interests. So again, recognize Mackenzie King and recognize these three measures that he created or continued. Again, in your textbook, it starts on page 12 and goes all the way into page 13. Okay, right here. Can't miss it. Again, Mackenzie King, Unemployment Insurance Act right here, Family Allowance Act, and 50 bonds. Again, note these three terms, summarize it, put it into your own words, why they are significant. Again, you will see a question again about Mackenzie King on assignment number 4. Moving along. A different Canada, yes. As time changed, things change, circumstances change, things are just different. Canada wanted to avoid the return of what happened in the 1930s. Again, we know what happened. Again, the Great Depression, stock market crash. We Canadians wanted help from our government. So boom, there we have it. We now have the Unemployment Insurance Act, and we now have the Family Allowance Act. So again, in terms of times of crisis or financial crisis, our government stepped up and helped our citizens. Again, can you see that relationship in terms of how the Unemployment Insurance Act and how the Family Allowance Act help support families? Again, this is something, if we didn't have this, especially back in the 30s with the Great Depression, things would be a lot more difficult, challenging, having a lot more struggles. But internationally, Canada can now protect our own interests, and now we can now contribute to war efforts, as you can see within World War One and within World War II. So again, still making great strides in terms of our identity and helping others around the world. Again, not all of our contributions took place on the battlefield. We have something called Camp X. Camp X. No, we're not going camping in a tent and creating bonfires and roasting hot dogs and singing campfire songs. But Camp X was a secret training commando institution that opened up in 1941 and closed in 1946. What made Camp X significant was that it trained secret agents, spies, and assassins to fight, like super fancy specialist fighting tactics. More than 500 trained at this institution called Camp X. It was the first secret agent school in North America and the only one in the Western Hemisphere. So think about James Bond and how that fictional character came into play. It basically bought off of this notion of Camp X. Besides learning secret spies and agents and how to fight, people at this institution learn secret codes, how to enter buildings, climb cliffs, use different weapons, how to get on and off trains, and even cross landscapes at nighttime without being caught. So again, very unique, very special. Again, it opened up here in Canada near Oshawa. Again, it opened up in 1941, but shortly closed in 1946. Again, something that Canadians can be proud of in terms of their contributions to the war efforts. Again, the Canadian RCMP police train at these institutions. It's almost like the FBI in the United States in a way. So again, very secret, very unique as well. So that's Camp X. Again, just note its purpose. What's the purpose of Camp X? Again, Camp X can be found in your textbook back on page 12 right here, just before Mackenzie King. Okay, that's where you can find Camp X. Okay, on page 12. Again, any questions, class? Comments, concerns? Did you want me to slow down? Did you want me to continue? Is there anything you want me to clarify, go back on? Just let me know. Just let me know. But again, hopefully you're still working on your assignments, still chipping away at each one. Okay? All right, I think we have a couple more slides for today, and then we'll get to assignment number 4, and then hopefully we'll have time in class to work on any outstanding material as well. Constituous objectors. Constituous objectors. Who were these people, or this group of people? Constituous objectors were anyone, and I mean anyone, who are not in agreement to go to war, or they simply refuse to engage. Okay, going back to that question where I proposed earlier in terms of would you go to war, if you say no, if you refuse, you could be considered a constituous objector. These group of people didn't want to engage or simply said no because of deep personal reason, ethical reason, religious reason, and moral reason as well, where they simply just thought that it was wrong, not right to go. Again, these were mainly Mennonites, Amish, and Jehovah's Witnesses. They believed that Christians should be neutral in world conflict. Again, they didn't favor any sides. They didn't support anyone. They just simply said neutral, right down the middle, and didn't want to engage or get involved as well. However, they contributed in the war in different factors, such as medical, dental, their work on roads, construction, forestry, and even firefighting. So again, don't have to go overseas to fight in battles and shoot guns and kill people and do those things, but again, their contribution took place in other forms. Again, know who were the constituent objectors and why they didn't want to go to war. Okay. Nice. Just a bit more indigenous content that I want to plug in here. Again, it's not in your textbook, but again, something I just want to integrate as well. So for First Nation, well, the Canadian government ignored treaty promises. And what happened after World War II, again, started in 1945, there were a greater political consciousness within First Nations. And there was an increase of Canadian awareness about Aboriginal issues happening in communities and northern communities as well. So again, things start to shift and transition after World War II in 1945 and as we transition into the 50s. Again, we talked a little about residential schools, we talked about living on reserves, we talked about how the Canadian government ignored the treaty promises. Again, things start to change about in the 50s where they're having more awareness about the issues going on within the North and in communities as well. Again, as we continue with the next few weeks, again, we'll look at how things start to improve or how things didn't improve and what's going to transpire within the future as well. Okay? So that's that. So let's get to the main event, which is the next assignment. Assignment number 4. Very short assignment, only 5 questions, again, out of 14 marks. Again, this is a great time for me to re-emphasize and reinforce that, again, what I'm looking for, again, is just being able to write in full, complete sentences. Again, not copying word for word from the textbook, but how you articulate your thinking, your ideas, and your support within your answers. Okay? Again, the answers are in your textbook. They are in our class lecture. So again, if you had been coming to class all the time, like Bridget Adams has been coming to, these questions should be a piece of cake. Okay? So again, you have now the knowledge and the tools. Hopefully you can use them and answer these questions. That's all it is. Again, once you have completed or at least attempt all questions on your assignments, you can now write the test. Again, it's not all about getting perfect or doing super well. Again, these assignments are just showing me how you're progressing. That's all it is. Are you able to follow instructions? Are you able to find the answers? Are you able to read the textbook, follow the class notes, and then answer these questions the best as you can? Okay? So again, very, very straightforward. No surprises, no nothing. Okay, so again, don't be discouraged, class. Just keep working on assignments. I know it's tough. I know we don't have much time. I know we have busy lives, but again, do your best to get it done. If you need help, I'm here to help. We can work on it together. We can work on it right now and try to get it done together. Okay? So, assignment number 4, question number 1. What was the main reason why Canadians joined the Second World War? Okay? It's in your textbook. We talked about it in class. What was it? So again, you can always start off by writing something like this. You don't have to, but again, this is just an example of how you can start off these answers. Again, the main reason why Canadians joined the Second World War was because the Great Depression left Canadians without jobs. Again, something like that. Again, see how I kind of rephrase the questions and put into the answer as well. Again, that this is something that will give you full marks. This is something I'm looking for. If you just write that, oh, the Great Depression left Canadians no jobs, you'll maybe get half a mark or half the mark that's given, because again, I'm still looking for complete sentences. Even though you had the correct answer, but again, just putting into sentences. Okay, the Great Depression left Canadians no jobs, therefore they joined the Second World War efforts. Okay, again, finish that thought, finish that sentence for full marks. Okay, again, I'm not just looking for the correct answer, but again, it's how we articulate and use our writing skills as well. Question number 2, why was Canada known as the arsenal of democracy? Again, you can always start by saying something like this as well. Arsenal of democracy meant that Canada was a great help in the war efforts. Okay, but now I'm looking for details. Okay, but how? Okay, give examples. Okay, details. These are all examples I'm looking for. Okay, so again, if you wrote that something like Canada is known as the arsenal of democracy because of the great help, again, you may get 1 out of 2, 1.5 out of 2. Again, if you want full marks, again, tell me how. Okay, that's how you get full marks, 2 out of 2. Okay, 2 out of 2. Again, same thing. Question number 3 was Camp X. Again, Camp X was this. The purpose of Camp X was this as well. Okay. Question number 4 talks about Mackenzie King and how he took steps to improve. It asks for 3 measures that he created. Okay, not just 1, not just 2, but looking for 3, and then describe it in details. His purpose. Again, if you recall, they were the Unemployment Insurance Act, the Family Allowance Act, and victory bonds. Again, Now your job is to describe the purpose of each one. So again, 2 marks for each one. And question number 5, the last one, who were considered as constituent objectors, and why were they considered constituent objectors? Okay. So again, nothing difficult, no surprises here. Again, really straightforward, kind of some definitions, some terms I need to define, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So your job now is to use your textbook, again, page 12 and page 13. Okay, page 12 and page 13. That's all you need. Again, we do have about 5 minutes left or so in class. You can even get assignment 4 done right now. Again, it shouldn't take us that long. Again, we kind of did 2 questions already. So again, just 3 more questions. Again, it should take you no more than about 10-15 minutes to complete it. Very, very straightforward. Okay. So again, we do have a few minutes left in class. Again, are there any questions, comments, concerns? Bridget Adams, are you still there with us? Can you still hear us? Again, class, do your best to try to get them done, and do your best to try to submit them as well. Okay? Again, I want to thank all those for listening and tuning in, whether or not you're in your community, at the Learning Center, at home, or even parts unknown. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, engage with us. Again, hopefully these lectures and hopefully you find it engaging. Hopefully it helps to expand your thinking, your knowledge, your understandings when you're working on these questions on your assignments as well. Okay. So again, this is PLAR, nothing difficult. Again, yes. Again, if you missed any content or want to review anything, not a problem. Again, you can always find it on my YouTube page on the archive. Again, within the archive, you can always listen, but you can't watch. That's why I took the time and initiative to post it on my YouTube channel. That way you can listen and watch as well. So again, I'll do that first thing, again, like always, tomorrow morning once I'm back in my office. Again, I will post it on your message page, Bridget. So again, you will have that thing first thing tomorrow. And again, just keep chipping away at these assignments. Try to get much done as you can. Again, our goal is to try to get everything done as soon as possible, and especially by the due date in June so that everything can be all set before we are off during the summer. Okay, so again, do your best. If you need help, talk to me, talk to your DUC. If you lost anything, need a new package, let me know. We can easily sort that out for you as well. Okay? And again, if you want a USB stick with last term content on it, again, let me know. I can always pop that on a USB stick and ship it to you on Express to you in your community for free as well. But again, continue to come to class. Again, Bridget, again, you're doing a fantastic job. Come to class. I know you got family, we have kids, all great. But again, just do your best to come to class again. Again, we'll try to engage, make it fun, exciting as well. Okay? Good stuff. So, next class, this coming Thursday, we'll look at the second part of World War II. We'll continue to analyze anti-Semitism. We'll talk actually more about that. We'll talk about racism within regards to Japanese Canadians, how they had to overcome that. And we'll wrap up World War II with that. So again, pretty short lessons I have for this coming Thursday. Again, It just gives us more time to have discussions, to have more engagement, have more time to catch up on any work as well. Okay? Good stuff. So I think I'll stop you here for today. Again, thank you, Bridget Adams, for coming to class. Fantastic job. Again, keep coming to class. Hopefully I can see and hear you this coming Thursday as well, along with everyone else. All right. So again, keep working on these assignments. Any questions, concerns, you know where to find me. We'll stop right today, and I'll see everyone this coming Thursday. Thanks so much, everyone.